To live is to eventually die, the inescapable fact of all mortal life. Almost all of those aware of their lives fear and dread this final end, which echoes the collapse of all order into disorder. Through remorseless entropy, many strive to avoid such a fate, and are willing to perform any deed, or suffer any woe, to keep death from their door, if only for just one more day. This is futile, but it may attract the attention of one who represents both ruin and the struggle against it that typifies all life. For wherever there is life, there is decay, and where there is decay, there is Nurgle. There is nothing in all of creation that does not decay. No civilization forever endures the machinations of its rivals. No king survives the plotting of his enemies. No life avoids death. Nurgle, known as the Plague Lord, the Great Corrupter, and affectionately by his followers as Grandfather, is one of the Chaos Gods. He embodies decay, disease, and entropy. But paradoxically, he is also the god of rebirth and regeneration. For from decay springs new life, albeit in a form that most would find grotesque. From his pestilent garden within the Chaos Realm, where carrion flowers sway in the polluted breeze, and horrid fungi sprout from rotting corpses, Nurgle lovingly concocts new afflictions. His demons emerge forth to bring his gifts to mortals across the lands. For Nurgle is a generous god who rejoices with each successful plague. Uncountable living beings fall to his carefully wrought endeavors. Yet there are those who seek power through acquiring his gifts. His apostles are often shambles of putrefying flesh and dripping sores, but with unnaturally resilient bodies that vigorously resists death, while they deal death to those who reject Nurgle's offerings. Just as all life falls to decay, so too does every mortal, and each that falls begets new life and new hope. This is the trade in which Nurgle traffics. Flesh is the coin of his realm, and hopes are the interests he pays on the investments made. In every corner of this harsh and indifferent world, countless lives are extinguished each day. Wars ravage the lands, drowning kingdoms in the blood of their citizens. Greed and ambition strip nations of their wealth and prospects for the benefit of the few. Broken oaths, deception, and treachery bring down empires, sacrificing the lives of those loyal to them so that the sinister schemes of new tyrants may emerge. Amid such catastrophes, anguish, despair, pain, and pestilence afflict the minds and flesh of the survivors, driving them to hopelessness. But despite all this hopelessness and despair, it is said that through Nurgle and his noxious blessing, A soul may discover renewed meaning and the determination to lift its gaze to the skies, confront the abyss of decay, and reclaim their life again.
Rejoice. Your Father brings you hope in your darkest hour. Let those who would accept his gifts come forth and receive the blessings of the Lord of Decay. Cast away your crutches and doubts. Put aside beliefs in a false master who fills your hearts with lies, sorrow, and regrets. Embrace instead the glorious gifts of rot and decay. Revel in the beauty of putrefaction and be reborn a living symbol of perseverance.
These are the stark realities of life in the mortal realm, and the whispers that articulate these realities are the same whispers that animate the malevolent denizens of another domain, the realm of chaos. As the mightiest forces within the warp, the Chaos Gods hold supreme sway over the shadowy realm's form. Their dominions are not territories with defined limits. More so, they are tangible expressions of existence, prone to grow or shrink with the fluctuating might of their master. The notion of boundaries only gains some form of recognition where these realms converge, in areas a human mind might vaguely interpret as borders. Khorne, Slaanesh, Tzeentch, and Nurgle each wield their distinct influence over their surroundings through their desires, their actions, and the accomplishments of their followers, crafting unique landscapes for themselves. The domain of the Blood God thrives on warfare and strife, hosting endless battlefields where his followers engage in eternal conflict.
For the Blood God! Skulls for the Skull Throne!
The realm of Slaanesh is a labyrinth of enticing marvels and perplexing beauty, laying traps and circles of temptation at every turn. Tzeentch's territory is an ever-changing maze of bizarre edifices, puzzles, and landscapes in constant flux. Nurgle's territory, by contrast, is a garden.
The Flesh Legion marches!
The Garden of Nurgle holds a peculiar and macabre charm, distinctively reflecting its master's nature. It is not a place of beauty, not in the conventional sense. It exists within the realm of chaos, and so this garden is an extension of Nurgle himself, a domain where the concepts of life and death, growth and decay, are all inextricably intertwined. It is an endless expanse of rotting vegetation, where every conceivable form of blight and pestilence thrives. The air is thick with the buzz of flies and the stench of decay. Pustulent plants and fungi of all shapes and sizes grow in profusion, releasing spores that spread corruption. Streams and pools teem with virulent life, where the very water seems to pulsate with malignancy. The Garden of Nurgle defies mortal comprehension, an immeasurable expanse that transcends the very concept of space and time. To attempt to grasp its vastness is to invite madness. For it is not merely a place, but a manifestation of Nurgle's infinite capacity to nurture and corrupt. The garden sprawls beyond horizons that recede endlessly, filled with a diversity of rotten ruin that cannot be catalogued by any mortal means. Its pathways twist upon themselves in impossible geometries, leading travelers in circles or into realms of deeper corruption. Every step taken within this garden reveals yet more layers of its infinite decay, a labyrinth of life in its most virulent form, sprawling out in all directions, boundless, a domain where scale and distance lose all meaning, and the very concept of understanding becomes as ephemeral as the lives swallowed by Nurgle's boundless garden. It is no ordinary garden. Perhaps it is not a garden at all, but mortal minds that contemplate the manifested will of the Lord of Decay must attempt to make some sort of sense out of what they have seen or heard in whispered tales. They must place it in some sort of relatable context that they can consider without going insane. Tomes and other forbidden texts that have attempted to describe this place agree that the idea of Nurgle's realm being a perverse, deadly, and yet strangely beautiful garden best puts chaos into terms they can fathom. In this garden, Nurgle toils with the affection of a devoted gardener, cultivating new diseases and spreading plagues across the mortal and immortal realms.
Each new disease, each new mortal brought low, is carefully recorded in a never-ending tally of his loving beneficence. Nurgle exists everywhere, for all living things erode and fail, and with each fall his power grows.
His followers, a grotesque assembly of demons and mortal champions, find in this garden a paradise. To them, the diseases and poxes created by Nurgle are blessing, symbols of their god's favor. Plague-bearers, Nurgle's demonic foot soldiers. They tend to the garden, counting and cataloging every infection, while Nurglings, diminutive imps that embody the essence of Nurgle's joviality and macabre sense of humor, play amongst the filth and decay. Great unclean ones, the most powerful of Nurgle's servants, oversee the garden's maintenance, spreading their master's gifts far and wide, delighting in the proliferation of sickness and disease. The Garden of Nurgle is not a worldly garden in the slightest, even though it does have some similarities to the real-world gardens and jungles known to man. In this strange and dangerous realm, a visitor may not travel from one spot to another. Not even the demons who look after the garden may come and go as they please. Instead, they are all incorporated into the garden's overall experience. To an outsider, the Garden of Nurgle might seem like a nightmarish hellscape, but for those who embrace the decay, it is a place of endless fascination, where the cycle of life and death plays out in its most primal form. It is a realm where the most horrific diseases are crafted, only to be unleashed upon the world, bringing despair and devastation, but also renewal in a twisted form. In this way, the Garden of Nurgle is the perfect playground to the perverse creativity of the Plague God. At the heart of Nurgle's garden lies a decrepit mansion, a bastion of decay, where the air is thick with the buzz of flies, and the ground teems with grotesque vermin. The shutters just barely cling to the window frames, only half filled with broken panes of filth-covered glass. Sewer drains spill forth beetles, maggots, and twisted centipedes, with tongues for bodies and human fingers for legs. This house, perpetually on the brink of collapse, yet eternally preserved in its state of rot, serves as a symbol of pestilence and death, as well as the paradoxical source of hope and renewal, under the watchful eye of Nurgle, the Lord of all. Nurgle himself often sits in a massive chair, just to the side of the mansion's front door. He greets visitors with tales and trials, amidst the natural place full of dangers and dark wonders. From the attic, filled with meticulously catalogued diseases, to the perilous kitchens brewing endless plagues, every corner of this mansion reflects Nurgle's macabre creativity and his twisted affection for the cycle of life and death. During his excursions beyond the mansion, he wanders past some of his most cherished spots, many of which have been around since Nurgle first thought of them, and are likely blueprints for the new universe that will emerge. A short distance from the mansion lies the deathbeds, a place he frequents more than any other. This area fulfills dual purposes. Not only does it trap errant travelers and vanquish foes in its deep pits and treacherous bogs, holding them for some vile future purpose or for their eventual end, but it also serves as Nurgle's preferred source of amusement. The Plaguefather delights in tales from beyond his realm, drawing inspiration for new diseases suited to foreign lands. In the deathbeds, he finds an endless supply of potential storytellers. Occasionally, he offers these hapless souls a chance to better their lot by expelling the worms from their mouths and recounting stories of their homelands. Those who entertain him are taken from the bog and carried to the mansion, where they are granted the dubious honor of serving as carriers for Nurgle's latest contagions. Once fully infected, Nurgle offers them a final, nauseating embrace before dispatching them back to the realms of which they originate. Following his visits to the deathbeds, Nurgle often proceeds to the poxyards, his laboratory for testing the effectiveness of his plagues on both body and soul. Each disease undergoes a unique trial to assess its potential to fulfill the Plaguefather's twisted ambitions, transforming the poxyard's landscape to meet the needs of each test. For trials of the spirit, the area of testing might mimic a serene landscape with crystal-clear lakes, tempting the dehydrated and tainted to drink, only for the water to morph into pus, torturing the frail spirits. For a test of a skin-eating disease, the poxyards may be filled with claw-thrust brambles. Infected captives can be sent running into the demon plants, chased by beasts. If the captives scream as they pass through the razor-edged branches of the plants, then Nurgle knows that the poor wretches can still feel pain, and his affliction needs refinement. The poxyards, ever-changing, serve as a crucible for Nurgle's experiments, providing him with endless revelations and thus occupying much of his attention. Numerous other locales share this vibrancy and mirth. Areas perpetually alive with hustle and delight. The Morabusium, a nursery for the most valuable and venomous flora, and the Dunglash Arboretum, where purified waste dangles from branches as foul-smelling, rotten tendrils. Each of these zones supply Nurgle with the essential components and revelations required to advance his endeavors at the Cauldron, rejuvenating him upon his return to the mansion after his macabre excursions. Nurgle's garden exists in a perpetual cycle of decay and rejuvenation, a domain where despair coexists with the perverse form of hope. Within its ever-expanding borders, the Plaguefather cultivates diseases with the care of a devoted gardener. Each seed is nurtured to be future pestilences, catastrophes, and transformations across the realms.
The mark, 3 endless circles of the acolytes who saw it. Only I persist still. The others struggled against the spreading rot, and they succumbed. Our master ordered the church burned, the town cleansed, but it was far too late. The rot had taken hold, and now all that remained was to accept it. Only I saw that reality, that inevitability. The others died, choked by flies, their flesh sloughing from their bodies, their bones made the meal of worms. But I persisted, and then I saw the path.
Having wandered the twisted paths of Nurgle's garden, we'd like to extend our deepest thanks to all of you for joining us on this particularly obscure journey. In the next episode, we return with the adventures of Dr. Stefan Hoffman as he continues his travels across the lands and provinces of the Empire. This time, heading to Ostland, a province that lies in an almost permanent state of conflict. If you found yourself captivated by the might of the Plaguefather, we invite you to share this video within your tribe or city, to spread the word like a plague, and share Nurgle's blessings. For those of you who want to further help in our efforts, consider joining us on Patreon. Your support not only helps us continue to craft these narratives, but also grants you access to the full finished videos on early access, access to our Discord server, your name on the credits, and more. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.